and kill two birds with one stone, but all parents are relevant. It's not just the adult parents. It's, we have basically next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, so they can bring us
Okay,
to cover
for all sports.
for all sports.
Nice.
So we very coordinated with the other, with the sports two there, so I asked the coaches to do on separate nights. So that, you know, obviously if there comes to volleyball meeting, I will have to back another question, but if that doesn't work or whatever, or if they have a kid that plays football, they can just come to it that night and they have to stay over in their meeting room for the volleyball service. But we give them two opportunities.
I think opportunities are good, but I think it's mandatory that they attend one prior to their child studies. Sports. They can't go, they cannot play in a game until a parent has attended in-person parent meeting. Or if you guys were on one at one of those three, just fine. One of them that first and then
Well, we're knowing that we would probably need to do that, because no matter how many meetings you have, you might have to fit somebody's schedule.
Right.
Whatever way you fit out work schedule, whatever. So. We try and accommodate.
make it be virtual, right? It could be
Could be a Zoom
Zoom
or,
call.
yeah,
Something.
we've got to certainly have
Lost traffic or whatever, you know, but I think that all, at least one parent of a two-parent household.
Carter, is this doable?
I'm sorry, I was joining the conversation late. I was having a little technical difficulty. I got everything set up now. What I was gonna volunteer was, is there a recording available? Like, could you do a recording, or could the coach do a recording and then you post the recording and then the parent verifies that they've listened to the recording through a document that they give to you? That might be a third way. I think everybody's schedules are so busy, and especially parents with young kids. Yeah, I mean, I remember what it was like with passing ships in the night, and we tried to attend those things. And so now with the way that the virtual world is, maybe offering, like, maybe you go to the parent meeting and record it, and then we post it on our website, and then they send you an email. I watched the recording of the volleyball coaches parent meeting, and then you have that document that says that.
Sure.
I wasn't trying to throw it for a loop, but I was just trying to give one more option. You know, I think this Zoom was a great idea. I think meeting with you or Joe or both of you or the coach, I think all those things work, but this might be a third one that they can do at 12 o'clock at night, because that's when they get off work.
Yeah, and if we did that, I was encouraging you, feel free to ask questions.
I was gonna say, could we do a follow-up? So I call in and say, I work swing shift, can't make any of these meetings. I'm gonna watch the thing online, and then I'm gonna send you an email. Could we send an email, a reply email back? Do you have any questions? Can I clarify anything for you so that we have that double check? Is that a huge imposition? I mean, I don't know how many of these we could have.
It would depend on how many look at, which is obviously, I think a lot of parents would make it, a lot of people would be able to make for the meetings.
Yeah,
But I'd have no problem with putting in there, like, you know, we have a list and they watch the video, but then reach out to them and call them. Say, hey, someone make sure that you have any questions, maybe I can clarify, because I think that's important with something like this, to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And because no matter what we do, we're not going to be totally on the same page, but try to get as close as possible.
right. And that's all I'm saying is if I'm sitting there watching it on my own time, but to have somebody reach out from the school and just say, do you have any questions? Again, building relationships and rapport and trying to get two-way communication.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think between, depending on the number, Joe and I can tackle it together.
Okay.
And I don't think it'll be insurmountable.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, trying to extend any criticism, doing something like this to be courteous of their time and their
Right.
schedule to so on.
Okay, so we've got Zoom,
In person.
the online thing in person, 3 different nights in person. Does anybody? Mark, are we good with all of those options and getting people to?
I just want to suggest one thing. When we talked about asking you about this, we thought, you know, holding kids from contests like you suggested is one route. the other route would be just telling those parents they're not welcome at the game. You know, the kid can still participate, but telling the parent, you're not welcome at contests until.
But just the parent meeting, isn't it more than just the parents expecting to go?
The more they be covered. Well, the coaches will be covering in their meetings, their stuff specific to the team, and then we're gonna cover the spectator contract, the athlete contract, and then the stuff part of the team we get that's set up with that, so. Those will maybe be that. Parts. There's more we could cover, but then it comes down to just trying to be. Certainly, name fill out the law, and the two, that's the most essential.
That's right. Yeah, I think like totally agree with parents.
Just offering a different concept of those that are holding the kid from. I'm fine with
No, I,
that way.
I just totally get it. Like,
As a manager. I was,
To try and,
yeah, you're trying to get in the going, you're trying to manage it, you're trying to get officials going, plus you're saying that we're making sure that Mr. Trim is still there. And so, I mean, it's a better thing to set up through our hoops. I mean, that's an easier thing to manage.
Or if
And
you know them, you could take the contract to them during the contest and say, let's talk.
And so I think it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Same thing with the parent coming to a meeting and being in person. I mean, we're asking them to send this, they're sending away from you, they get it back, and they avoid it. It's constant basis. So I think it's, you know, we can avoid parents too by being too, there's a line where it's too much and we're trying to get our point across.
well, and think about too, if we have parent meetings next week. Just, logistically, to give a brief amount of time to be able to, for those that can't make it, by the time they can watch it, we can contact them. And I really think it's gonna be, if there is any with issues, it's gonna be very minimal number at that point.
And we can
Conversation with them.
proactively contact and say, hey, we have, in respect to your contact,
Yeah,
how can I help you get that open?
yeah, I mean, at some point, the confusion, yeah, maybe at some point, you say, well, look, you have by this date, so it will be like, maybe they're out of the client's experience, to the end of us. And we say, hey, I need information by this date, or your child. Yeah, I mean, hold that at some point, but give some,
Yes.
logistically, to, like, be given plenty of opportunity to come and see this and talk to us, answer the questions.
Proactive approaches.
Yeah.
Get it followed over.
But I would say it's definitely, we need to prepare that at some point, because you know, you need to, but it's something that they've got to do, continue to do some.
you can say that they have to attend in person, parent, whatever meeting. Or arrange something different, And then you guys can give them the option, or if you have a kiddo who truly like, basically doesn't have parents that are involved, then you guys can decide that, okay, that parent's not gonna be in the game, so that kid doesn't have to have their. They just have to have their players. But I think if we left it as you attend in person, period, or you arrange something with you. And then that you guys discretion at that point to decide what that other thing is. It could be kind of on a kid by kid basis.
I like that. So nothing's ever set in stone. The world we live in.
It's like we say this and then there's gonna be one kid who we say can't play because they have bad, not great involved parents, right? I don't want that to be the situation either. So if we just say it's this way, we work something out with the athletic directors.
And yeah, like maybe you do it over the phone,
Yeah.
because they're not tech savvy parents, you know, and they've got 15 minutes.
Here's my.
Yeah.
I think that helps promote what we're trying to do.
Right.
You know, that's, we're not trying to be episode, we're trying to grow something that you've got, I think, with one more with it.
I understand they have to attend an in-person meeting prior to their child being able to play the first game unless something's worked out 10 times like the athletic director or assistant athletic director.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's mostly have some meeting with some folks like no meeting on whatever day. Johnny's.
And they're taking play because you have that meeting set up.
And then if they show up, meeting with them,
Then they have
it takes the chance.
Mark, you're good with it? Nick, Lucy, Dick, I am also. Thank you, gentlemen, for your work on this.
Thank you guys for your help too.
Carter, you're up.
So I have it says important news update. So we're back in the office now, and it should be that one underneath that one. There you go. So we've got our office staff back. It's nice. This is kind of that week where we get everything put together. We finalized our in-service agenda just the other day, and so that's all set. And then Rondi, she does a lot of really great stuff, and this is one of Rondi's things. And we updated, you remember last year, we updated the attendance policy, we updated eligibility, and then those two things, and these are just kind of a friendly reminder. The attendance policy, our goal is for each student to, is 90% attendance or better. And so then we spell it out. This is, no more than 3.5 days missed in one quarter. And so those are the things we do a good job of that. Nicole does a great job in the office of making sure attendance gets out and done daily. And we've seen a big impact. Our attendance last year at the end of the school year, district-wide, was just over 90%. The high school was 89 and the elementary school was 91. And so we're doing it, and that's kudos to Rondi and Nicole and Tracy in the office, as well as Julie. Eligibility, that just summarizes what our eligibility is, and we're just trying to be transparent and communicate. And that's like, you can have one F, but if you have two Fs, you're ineligible for a whole calendar week from Monday to Monday, or unless we have a holiday on Monday, then it would be Tuesday to Monday. And then community service, this is new. Rondi and we talked about this at the end of the year last year. And so we've got an idea of getting kids out in the community and helping out. And whether that's like the Memorial Day flags at the cemetery, things like that, just out in the community helping out. And so those are some of the updates. We're going to talk more about cell phones later. That's, I think, a discussion item. And then included in this packet is Chris's contract, my contract, and those are later on discussion items. And then I included all of the stuff that Jocelyn sent you with about district goals. So that's the stuff that's in this packet that we'll get to later. But that's all the stuff I think we're excited about. High school, we've got lots of kids coming from other districts. I've been on the phone with lots of parents about trying to get into Union School District, which is a good problem to have. And so registration is next week. And so then the following week, teachers come back. And then the week after that, kids will be back. And so it's exciting. I'm excited for the start of the year. The in-service, the ESD has purchased for us a guest speaker. His name is Joe Fingerhut. I'm super excited about the young, energetic staff that we've added, and bringing somebody in as a guest speaker. I think there'll be some pretty good energy is what I'm excited about for the beginning of this year. So all of those things, I'm sure I've left some stuff out. It's been a pretty busy day. But yeah, and I'd like to, I apologize about the technical difficulties earlier. And I would like to say John has done a lot this summer. He says it's all little things, but it's all really noticeable stuff. And so, it's very much appreciated. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions? All right, Mindy, you're up.
I don't have any updates other than I sent out, and I talked to our auditing company today. She expects to have the draft audit to me maybe next week. They went through their quality review.
And you got to spend your quality time with the auditors.
You know, they put me here 2 days.
Okay,
Weird.
that's probably the thing.
They've asked for a few things after, because they do a lot of the work in their office now, because so much is digital.
Mhm. But it seemed like it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. I was just looking at 724 Mountain Valley Therapy for $5,000.
Yes, that is the contract costs for OT, PT. Oh, which one?
Oh.
PT service from last year.
Oh.
They're notoriously late with getting their bill to us, so.
Okay, that's what that is.
Also. The school year is ending.
Perfect. Any questions for Mindy on the check? All right, that was my only question. Here. Chris, you're up.
Okay, so for my report, you can see my projected, grade level numbers there. Those are what we are projecting, but Monday and Tuesday, we do have registration, so I do not have a solid number in kindergarten. Because we only have 9 that are currently on registration packets. And so I know that we have more than 9 kindergarten students that are planning to attend. And so to give you a number on what we're there is just not feasible at this time. But by Wednesday morning, you should have a very good idea after that registration. And I do believe from 1st through 6th grade, we will have a couple of additions and reductions. It's just kind of the name of the game as we go. And so if these are the rough projections, with 1st grade being 30 divided into 2 classrooms, 2nd grade at 30 divided into 2 classrooms, 3rd at 26, 4th at 29, 5th at 25, and 6th grade at 42 divided between 2 classrooms. And so we are aware that we are high in some of those singletons. But just like that our track record shows that when it gets to a certain number that's too much, then we are making adjustments. And Carter and I have discussed what that looks like. I've talked to the 4th grade teacher already about the 29 number. And until we know what happens in registration and who's coming and going and what the real number is, it's hard to make adjustments at this time.
Is registration pretty accurate, or do we still have a good number that show up on the first day of school?
Pre-registration is fairly accurate, I would say. Very seldom do we get a large influx, especially at the elementary. Most parents are pretty good about telling us if they're coming. I mean, there's some outliers.
Sure.
I would say less than 5.
Okay, perfect. That's
Yes,
what, so I was wondering if
Yeah.
we ended up with 10 or 15.
And then 5th grade, just at the end of the day today, we did have one kid that was transferred into a different school district, so 5th grade of 20. So it's a little stuff like that. Was good.
Everything like if the 4th grade number goes up and the kindergarten numbers stay low, then we might some shifting.
That's an option. Not an easy option, but we'll sure.
Yeah. no.
And that's where it's easy, it's hard to project and imagine what it could be until it's great.
How many kiddos were in that 4th grade class last year? 28, right?
27 was our 4th grade number last year. When we finished, when we
Yeah,
made
but the last year's 3rd grade was 28.
26. The number that's in parentheses is,
the last year we were in 9th grade. So last year's 3rd grade was finished at 28.
okay,
We have 10 that are currently on our radar. We're at that. So we've added one kid from another district. Sure. Okay. And then the rest of my report is just some dates that are gonna happen before our next board meeting. I personally am headed to Pendleton tomorrow for a workshop that I'm kind of excited about. H.G. Buttle is a Hall of Fame wrestling coach. I'm really interested in hearing him speak. He's going to be talking about supporting instructional excellence for administrators. So pretty excited that I get to attend that and say, there's a lot of people that want to, that are waiting to go into that, so I'm excited to bring some information back to Carter and to news. And then, we have 3 out of our 4 new hires that are signed up and going to participate in a new teacher training that INSD is providing. The 4th teacher, we talked to her, she's has 5 years experience, and it's more about what you're doing in your classroom for your first year. Classroom rules and structure and schedules and how you're going to manage different situations. So I'm excited that all 3 of those brand new first year teachers have agreed to attend that, which is very nice.
The teacher,
A little bit, yeah, it's a strategy for sure. And then August 20th, which again is the date that's prior to our first in-service day, we have a couple of our upper elementary teachers that have agreed to attend a Yolanda Westerberg, which is, good to remember, is the lady that did our writing instruction for the elementary. And we have 2 out of our 4 teachers that are willing to attend that right now too. And I haven't heard from 2 as well. So that's exciting that teachers are taking that initiative outside of their regular contract to be good for kids. So
Do you have a plan for the 2 that do it to present to their colleagues if others don't go?
it's, yeah, they'll share.
Okay.
Strategies, and it's really a refresher. We have been invited to attend this training. It's been service next week. And 2 years ago, a grant had Yolanda do a training there. She's doing a refresher, a reminder, and we were invited to be a part of that.
Oh,
That's what it is.
cool.
And then we also have in our early literacy grant, we had time with Yolanda later in the year to hire staff who are coming in and be with us. So even if they miss, they'll get it.
Okay.
One way or the other.
I just wondered if you had a formal plan in place.
This just happened this week, so not a formal
Okay,
plan, but I have something in mind.
okay, perfect.
And then the 27th, of course, is our scheduled open house that starts at 6 o'clock, but traditionally we ask kindergarten parents and families to come in 30 minutes early, just so they don't have that rush of everybody showing up at the same time. So 5:30 will be our kindergarten. We'll get them through, look at the school before the rest of the masses show up at 6 p.m. So that's coming up. And then traditionally we have sent our 7th graders to the Union County Safe Communities Coalition, where they just coach 7th grade kids up on how to be safe, how to be appropriate, how to kind of navigate their junior high year. And that coalition, Union County Safe Communities there, has added 8th graders to that this year as well. So we plan on Tuesday the 9th, this is their 7th graders, and I will go with them. And then on that Thursday, the 11th, Carter will go with the 8th grade class.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are just a couple of things that are happening before our next.
Thank you for those. I appreciate it. Okay, any other questions? The administrative reports, if you're looking through here.
Of course, that's.
We're gonna talk about that. Yeah, that's in there. That's later in the agenda.
Confidential administrative contracts, we went through those last month and we had some things that needed to be added. And I am guessing, these employment contracts include those.
Correct. They're all updated. And I included all the language rather than just a addendum.
Okay,
And
perfect.
so you have Chris's contract and then my contract follows it. In that packet that I gave you with this as the important updates.
This is all the same contract language for.
Yep, it's, yep, yes.
And you add the lifeline.
I added the life flight.
Where is that?
It is under fringe benefits. That would be page 2, paragraph 3, or page 2, section 5, paragraph 3. Under fringe benefits.
And that's included in Chris's as
Yep.
well.
Yes.
That's great. That was one thing I think we were missing besides just updating from the addendum.
Can't find it.
Where is it?
I'm missing page 2.
Yeah, me too.
Online, there's a.
I am too. That's probably where it's at. Chris is going, I don't see it. Okay.
I'll just read it to you. It's on this one. I don't know why, how it didn't copy off on the copy machine. I'm not sure. Air life flight insurance will be provided for the immediate household of the employee.
Perfect. And it's under fringe benefits under Chris's as well.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. These should be all updated and ready to go.
I'm guessing the pages just stuck together when I printed it in the collator.
It's in,
Yeah, it's in the, so.
And in the copies I have sitting in front of me, they both have that right here.
Any questions? On this, this was just an update as we went through those last time. Let's head to policy items.
Yeah.
I think we already voted on
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did just, well, maybe we did.
vote with the.
No, we did vote with the new stuff in here, so let's go ahead and just make sure we've got it. I think we did hold off on it because we
Right
wanted,
there.
yeah, I think we wanted these. Yeah. So.
Okay, then we approve these contract.
Yes, okay.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Hey, Jeff.
Fine.
All right, let's look at policy items. And Mindy, you're kind of the policy queen, so.
Well, the very first one listed, IIBGA, that I'm saying is deleted November. At the last meeting, it was confusion on my part of which was posted to the internet. So really, we don't need to do anything with that. We already deleted that policy. And it was just the AR surrounding the electronic communication, which had more to do with the internet than cell phones. So not to be confused. The rest of them, the second one we replaced that with was adopted in April, so there's no action on that one either. It was just, I brought you the wrong one at the last meeting, so I wanted to clarify. You've already done. And then the cell phones, which we know are a big deal, I wanted you to have that policy in front of you so that when the government ever comes out with what they're telling us to do, you can make sure that your policy as it stands today matches that. And so those are just what's in the policy manual online at this time. And I don't know that you are going to be ready to approve them, given that it's still a little bit of a moving target.
And these are new to us, not something we went over in November.
They are already, you've already gone over them in November. That was before the new things.
Okay, on the cell phone policy.
Correct.
Okay.
So they may change, is what you're saying, or may not.
They maybe will. There still, as of today, was no update on the OSBA website with a new set of required and optional policies. So I think, you could read the policies and see if they still match what we're planning to do. And then you can always readopt them later. I did get guidance from Rick Stuckey on some of these. If you just recently updated them and there's a required update to policy, you don't have to have 3 readings. You can just readopt with the new. So it takes a little less time, but I wanted to get them in front of you so that you can see if they match. At the very back of the packet that I sent you is Mr. Wells' cell phone
So-
policy.
If you go back to the packet that I had, you should have this right in front of you, and then the very next page is the pulled right out of the student handbook. And so obviously you can see this is Carter Wells doing this. This is Rondi Johansson doing it. So, and it's really good. And so what it is basically the stance that we're going to take as a school district is during instructional time, the phone should be off. It should be out of sight. Nobody should see it, those kinds of things. That's what this is. And it's Executive Order 2509. And I think Rondi did a really good job of putting this out. And so we're going to touch this up. She's not totally happy with it, but you're going to see these signs all over the campus, and they'll be at registration. There'll be all those things. Then if you go to the next page is kind of like the administrative rules and regulations for what the consequences are. So if you do have your cell phone out and you do have it, during class time, then it'll be confiscated. It goes to the office. The kid gets it back. At the end of the day, that's the first offense. And then you can read through how that goes. And so then the top of the policy is just it remain off and out of sight during class time, out of sight during the cafeteria time. You can use them before and after school, and then may only be used with specific permissions. And so that may be, we have a student that is diabetic, and they may have their insulin pump might be run by their phone. And so that's going to be a situation where we're not going to say, no, they can't have their phone. They're going to be allowed their phone. But then, the other part of it is staff. And Chris and I talked about this, and I think what the expectation is that we're going to ask staff to model that behavior that we expect from the students. Are there emergency situations? Is it like, could your spouse go to the emergency room and they need to call you to tell you, I'm going to the emergency room? That's a phone call you pick up, and you come right to the office and you say, hey, Chris, I need you to cover for me because my spouse is in the, or James is out on the field and a kid goes down and is having a seizure or something like that. That's an immediate phone call to the office. We're calling 911, like all those things. That's the kind of messaging that I believe that we're going to give to kids. And kids are smart. They know that they can go, I need to go to the restroom, and they're going to go to the restroom, and then they're going to do whatever they're going to do with their phone. And we have phones in the offices. We have phones in the classrooms. We can get, a hold of kids quickly if you call the office. And that's what we're going to tell parents at registration. So
I'm seeing already one conflict, and Rondi and I talked about it briefly today, but in your policy, it says that if the district implements, a curriculum that uses technology, students may be allowed to use their own personal electronic devices to access that curriculum. And I think what that's meaning is that on occasion, if a student has purchased their own laptop, we have allowed them to use that laptop at school for their school things. Our school Chromebooks can't, like Canva doesn't work on them. There's a lot of things that they create in AMP and Haley's ag classes and things that don't. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that statement is in direct conflict with this statement that says that other prohibited devices include laptops not issued by the school. So there needs to be some consistency there and it might be at the management level, it might not be at the board level, but it is in conflict. So that's why you need needed the policy to make sure that it aligns with the poster and that aligns with the handbook. And every time we change one, we have to change all three.
Yeah, and I think that the answer to that would quickly, you would just take laptops out of the flyer. So,
I have no dog in the fight.
Yeah.
But it's worthy of note,
mhm.
but it,
Yeah.
Or you just let school approved.
yes, that might be the thing.
Include, you know, smartwatches, headphones, tablets, laptops. Not approved.
I do know that their personal laptops. They have to get permission for that to get on our school network.
Mhm.
So the only way they could use them is with approval. And, or they would be connecting it to a hotspot on their phone, which they're not supposed to have in person. Those are all nice theories when they work.
Yeah. We all know there are gonna be glitches in this. My personal thought, and chime in, is that we leave our policy where it stands. Because it's not that far off. I mean, it says personal electronic devices shall be turned off during instructional or class time, during passing times, and we're pretty explicit in there. It does say that they may be allowed to use their, and that's the only thing. And I would assume OSBA policy, they should be working on that and sending us out something that has been vetted through all of their procedures.
And I've requested that from Rick, but I haven't got anything
Okay.
back. I don't think they have like updated it.
They probably haven't. I guess at this point, my opinion would be to leave our policy as is until since we have just revisited our policies this past year. So we know they're all up to date, except for this one paragraph in here, it looks like, and just see what the OSBA comes out with. And if we have issues, then we'll have to let you monkey with it ourselves, but.
And I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to start the year off with, you know, this is obviously draft stuff, but we're trying to start the year off with that because the requirement isn't until October. And so I'm assuming OSBA will come out with something September 30th. And so what I'm trying to do is just get ahead of it, and we can always peel it back. But I think to start the school year off with, hey, it bell no up, you know, that kind of thing, and that just gets in kids' minds, and then we'll go from there. Because there's always going to be an exception or an accommodation or something like that, and we'll deal with it as they come. Yeah.
There'll be some glitch along the way. Is
Yep.
anybody else, anybody want to do anything to this policy, or are you all in wait and see mode? Well, I'm in, okay. Perfect.
It seems like it's gonna be super hard for these sport watches and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, so it's, you know, at the opening day of the assembly, you know, you tell kids like, hey, be smart, right? You know, it's a smart watch, you be smarter than the watch, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, and just don't, like, be discreet. Like, and, okay, yeah, I know I have a text message on my smartphone, I'm gonna ask if I can use the restroom because the lecture's over, and then I'm gonna go out in the hallway and I'm gonna put my hand in my locker and look at my phone. Or wristwatch, whatever, smartwatch, excuse me. So that's, I think, you know, coaching kids up, that's what we expect you to do.
appropriate use of technology, just like if you're at a meeting, that will be what you would do at a meeting.
And really,
You can go,
I mean, I think for me, I'm gonna be one of probably the worst, you know, people about it. I'm gonna have to check myself all the time because I do get so many text messages and phone calls throughout the day of like, this kid's blown out of this classroom, or we've got this, you know, student threw up in this hallway, and the major form of communication is my phone. And so Chris and I have talked about how do we get better about that? How do we be more discreet? And so that we're modeling that behavior for the kids. We talked about radios and we thought, let's try the school year without the radios, you know, and coach personnel up that are out supervising kids like at recess. If a kid goes down and it's emergency, get your phone out and call the office.
right,
That's an emergency, but not, Okay.
something important.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want
Yeah.
to call me.
Yeah.
Wait a couple hours.
And they do. I mean, the office staff is great about it. If I'm not in the office, I get a phone call right away and I'm going to the next thing, whatever it is.
Again, proactive communication with staff as well as kids to try and to get this to work as smoothly as possible.
Yeah.
It's gonna take practice.
I think that in like, with or Chris or music, that's part of the job. You're not checking Facebook. I'm just starting to put out there. It's like, oh, I can message this cookie, you know, like,
Yeah.
I think it's a text. It's probably not classroom related for the teachers. So that's not good. You
Yeah.
get a text from the teacher and that's,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I've always tried to explain that to kids. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying no staff ever doesn't use it for personal reasons, but we're trusted with the judgment. It's for a reason.
Yeah.
Even your PE teachers out in the field.
Yeah.
They should have it in their first aid.
Yeah.
Kit, they're, I'm assuming carrying.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions or comments on cell phone policy? I'm sure we'll hear more about this as the year.
Yes.
This will be my guess.
Yes.
We're down to information discussion items, quarterly timelines for superintendent evaluation format. This is Mark and Nick or whoever.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Well, yeah.
The information, read it.
Okay,
Well, I had maybe just print off for everybody what the timeline and pretty much out of the packet that we already had. That seemed pretty straightforward to me. So as far as I can tell, I mean, it looks like we got our goals here. So, I mean, in all reality, we're right where we should be. And so like for our next or first quarterly meeting would be like October, so that's where we would take a look at where we're at and what kind of progress we've made. I know that's not a lot of time between now and then for in terms of time with students and such, but so yeah, and then beyond that, then I guess, well, I don't know, I guess this is up for discussion, but I don't know that because we kind of skipped July because we didn't really have our goals yet at that point in time. So, I mean, I guess kind of maybe splitting it up into 3 meetings instead of 4 check-ins, but yeah, so I mean, I think we're supposed to be right now. Yeah, I didn't put a ton of time into this.
Right.
I found what I found in the packet.
Well, it is.
That was like a good reference point for us to start going off.
that packet's pretty explicit. So, Carter, any questions about check-in meetings?
No.
Okay, and we'll be asking you about district goals and your goals.
And I have those included in the packet tonight.
Perfect, perfect. But that's what those check-in
Yeah.
meetings are for.
October or January.
March.
July meeting. There'll
Okay.
be a specific section in the agenda where you update us on
Okay.
where we're at.
Then ideally, well, like every March, April time is when we would get our next year's set goals. It's kind of the way I read this anyway. So then that way we're on track with our quarterly meetings and all that good stuff.
It's like in the March, meeting, give us your update and present your goals for the following year.
Okay.
And my understanding as I was reading through this is we get together as a group in executive session when we do our ratings on each category, which is what you were wanting us to do. So to score, individually score and then come together and collaboratively discuss and come up with a single voice answer. Was that?
Yeah, you're too nice. I would have said what we failed to,
Okay,
and we can fix it.
okay. That's kind of what it sounds like the new process will be.
That. Should be. Should probably meet and score in February, and then we present
In March.
March meeting.
Correct, you guys.
Okay, so Mindy will put an executive session on the agenda for February.
She's gonna remember that. Okay, we'll,
Well, we'll just have to schedule a work session.
Right. right,
Executive work session. We'll pick a time, you get to do that, so it's gonna be
Telephone.
man. Okay, so Nick and Mark, you're responsible for making sure that we do it correctly. Let's just do it that way. All right. My other comment on this work.
Do that out. Tell us.
That you do that out. Number 3, it says gathering information, and this is one place that we've done a better job of it, but I think we can continue to do better. And that's like tonight, we've asked for a report on baseline goals from last year, but as we are progressing through the year, when there are pieces and parts in that evaluation where you don't feel like you have correct everything, you're knowledgeable about how to answer that question, this is where we can come and say, hey, at the next meeting, we'd like to know about what are you doing in this area? How do we know, what are your instructional practices? How are you going into, how often are you into classrooms? What are the forms whatever, but we need to be proactive and look at those evaluation and say, these were, and we did look through those. So what were the areas that you wrote down? I don't know. And then we can ask more proactively. We want to know about this, so inform us. Our 2 tasks as a board are to oversee the district and to evaluate the students. So both of those kind of fit in that category. So I say all of us, need to ask questions. And not be afraid to say, hey, I want to know about this. So. Cool. Anything else we need to know about this new piece? Any questions you'd like to ask about?
I don't have any questions.
Since it is
Yeah.
definitely affects you.
No, and I think it's great. I'm excited about it, to be honest with you. And I've in my packet that I gave you, we'll talk, I think it's down under action items. F is my goals.
Okay,
And I included some, and those are some drafts of things that I'd like to accomplish this school year. So
Okay.
I'm excited about it.
we'll get to that piece. We have down, this is the baseline presentation of 24-25 integrated plan and annual report. The measuring marks were 3rd grade reading, 6th grade math, and 9th grade on track.
That's this
So-
packet.
Okay, this is the
Looks like-
baseline piece where we are starting the school year. Well, minus regression from summer.
Yep. So this is, Chris, Rondi and I, put all this together, and talked through it, the last couple of days. So you can see, the elementary school 3rd through 6th grade have the opportunity to participate in the statewide testing. The total number of students is 132. 14 of those students opted out. So that gave us 89% of our 3rd through 6th graders took the test. So it's not 100%, but it's not bad. It's not what it was historically. Historically, through COVID, we had all kinds of opt-outs and things like that. So the STAR reading and math, if you look at that, there's a beginning of the year assessment, there's a middle of the year assessment, and then there's an end of the year assessment. And then the iReady key, green is on or above grade level. Yellow generally means students are one level below that current grade. Or, for example, you might be a 4th grader and you might test, it might be middle of the year test, and you don't test as a 4th grade 4.5, you test as a 4.1. That would mean you're in the yellow because you're not where you should academically where you should be based on your grade level. And then the 9th grade on track. This is one that's pretty easy. When you look at it, there are 24 students in this class. A total of 21 students are on track and in good standing as far as sophomores. The 3 of those that show high risk are our students who are homeschooled and only take specific on-campus classes. So we don't have all the data from the classes that they had taken at home yet to put on their transcript.
Okay.
And or they may not graduate from us. They may be a Baker Web Academy and graduate from Baker Web Academy, but they come to FFA or they come to art or they come to, something on our campus that their family can't provide at home school. And so we've tried to do that. We've tried to, since I've been the superintendent, I've tried to reach out to homeschool families and said, hey, come and use what services we have that you can't provide. And some families have done that. And I think it's been a pretty good recipe. So the next page is the definitions of the formerly called OAKS, the OSAS assessment. That's the state assessment. Level 1 is minimal understanding. Level 2 is partial understanding. Level 3 is adequate or proficient. That's passing. And then level 4 is like above and beyond. So then I would ask you to turn to the next page. So if you look at this one, top left, it says third grade. So this is the third grade data from 24-25. And so we've starred the English language arts. That's the OSAS assessment. That's the state test. And then we've starred the reading STAR test. And you can see those are two different assessments. You can see that there's 3 different times a year that they have taken that assessment. And then the iReady is math, which is not what we're focused on for third grade. But if you look at the bottom of the page and you look at the state average of 41% for third grade reading is the state average, Union School District is at 39%. Okay, I think we can do better. I think we're going to get better. I think especially since we've separated our kindergartners and our first graders, and we've had multiple classes there with low numbers. I believe that that's going to correlate in the next couple of years to success at that test, that third grade reading test. But I will tell you that the STAR test, and you look at that data, it's much more user friendly. Third graders getting their first opportunity to take a state test. It's not perfect, right? It's a first time doing it. They don't know the ropes, and we coach them up, but it's a one-time snapshot. And maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they forgot to eat breakfast. Maybe, I don't know. Grandma was sick. And the next page is the sixth grade data. This is sixth graders from last year, and we're looking at math. And so you can see the state assessment, and then you can see the STAR assessment. You can see that our STAR assessment, we're much more proficient in math in sixth grade than we are in the state. Or the state assessment. But then you look down at the bottom, the state average is 29%, and Union's average of meeting or exceeding was 29%. So we're right in line with the state. And we track this. I'm hoping that the more we have iReady, all of those things that we've adopted over the last couple of years, that we can improve that. And so this is our baseline data that you were talking about. And so we'll take these pages, make these same pages next year and compare it to this year. And so that's what I think Rondi and I were talking about. Like, that's just one of the things that she'll come back at the beginning of every year and start compiling that data from the year before. And then the final page is that total breakdown, and it's titled ninth grade on track. That's what that stands for. And so you can see that little pie graph in the bottom left-hand corner. There's no risk for those 21 students that are our regular kids that come to school every day, and those 3 homeschool students or partial students that don't attend all day. Those are considered high risk because we haven't gotten documentation from the families of the classes that they've completed. So that is the presentation for the integrated plan annual report. Third grade reading, sixth grade math, ninth grade on track. I think there's room for growth here. But I think I was shockingly surprised that, we were right on line with the rest of the state. I would like to be way above that.
Yeah, it ain't too good.
No, but I think what I'm saying is that there's room for improvement. Yeah. No. Yeah, and I agree. And I'm just excited that we actually received, 89% of our students took the test. Yep. Yep.
Another question, so all the classes, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all take state testing, is that correct?
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, tenth. Fifth grade also, fifth, eighth, and 11th or 10th also take science.
Would you put a spreadsheet together for us?
All, every grade levels. Okay. Okay.
Once you're, okay, all of these grades took these state testing, this is where all these grades are at. Once a year, every year, I'd like to see the whole picture versus just the snapshot that's required by the state.
So what I could do is like what we did, maybe what we did down here at the bottom, like third grade, English language arts.
Yeah,
The state average was 41%, the union was 39%, and then that with math also.
Those grade levels, if you have age for each grade.
Okay.
What their state testing was, and what their scores were.
I can probably fit it all on one page if I do it like this.
However you want to do it.
Okay.
I think you're-
Yeah.
With our state testing. Where we're at, because just like you said, those fourth graders this year probably did better than they did last year.
Mhm.
And so like we have these third grade numbers, but it'd be fun to be able to track, okay, that was their first test, now they took reading in third grade, where are we at?
Yeah.
And be able to see as they truly grow, are we making progress across?
And with the small numbers that we have, it will be more accurate to look at last year's third graders as fourth graders, to look at their numbers and compare fourth to fourth, because we only have one or two, we have low numbers. I mean, it's not like we have 300
Yeah.
seventh graders, yeah.
Here, you show to us that
Yeah.
then. Or maybe you then save them, and then next year on side by side, last year's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and so like one of the things Chris and I were talking about earlier, it's like that 41% in the state average to 39% in union. That's one kid
Right,
that may be opted out.
right.
You know what I mean? And so so it's not gonna be 100% accurate, rendition, but
Also, two kids moving out of that class and getting two different kids. So
So
it's-
there's no rush there.
there's no number.
So, yeah.
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 It's kind of skews the data.
But it's still be nice to be able.
Yeah.
to-
It'd be nice to look,
Yeah,
And we get a report card every year.
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And to try and compare apples to apples, if possible, as close as possible, knowing that we're small and our numbers are gonna be easily skewed, but.
it's also just a good check, I think, for us as a district as a whole, to, okay, so we did this last year, we had roughly the same number of kids this year, and now our English scores are in the toilet, like, what changed, what happened, or, oh, we're doing really good, they're through the roof, like this new curriculum we adopted is really doing well, or are you writing, we're able to see that, or,
Yeah.
Just.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for the
That's-
report. We appreciate it, Chris and Carter, and we look forward to playing with these as we go through the school year and being more informed as the board and being able to track those things.
no, I would say that it's great information, and Chris and Rondi and I had some really great discussions of this stuff over the last 2 days, and it's really good with the dashboard, and that you can, Rondi's getting really good at extracting that data.
Mhm.
And so, that's one thing we'll talk about later with my goals. So I didn't want to
Cool.
jump the gun there, sorry.
Cool. All right, we're on on 7, and that is the third-party investigation. I just wanted to report to you all that I am the district point. I am meeting with Scott. I have met with Scott Livingston, the investigator. When he is complete with his investigation, he will give us a report on what he has found. And then we will make a summary. And report at a regular board meeting. So that's really all I have to report. He is busy investigating what we've asked him to look at. So that's where we are. Okay, D, welcome back staff lunch. It is the 26th,
25th.
25th. God, I am bound and determined to screw this up.
Turn on your doodle.
To my doodah, the 25th. Okay, who can make it? Who wants to bring what? Or what am I ordering? Because you all know I don't cook.
I'll do meet again.
Okay,
I leave my work in union that day, so I can
nice.
just bring myself this year.
The 26th, you said?
25th, Monday the 25th. Monday the 25th at noon.
All right, we have meat.
I always do the plates and the silverware and water bottles.
Okay,
I can do rolls.
okay.
For this year.
Not as much as I had, I'm very little.
Yeah, like 25 years and you could cut in half.
Yeah.
Depending on how hungry I get between now and then.
Okay, I gotta pick up some salads.
Number one, you know.
Let me pick up a couple of salads at Island City Deli Place. I was gonna I'll pick up a green one and,
That'll be one other question I guess I would ask you. So I had Island State Market Deli here. And so recently, and it was very cost effective. Oh, they did full pork. Two different salads, sunflower salad, broccoli salad, rolls. And scalloped potatoes. Eve, it was with a nice tip. $14 a person. You like $700 if you can do the whole thing. So I don't know that we necessarily have to or want to, but just. That's.
They're good, so that, it's really good.
it's good. Y'all know me, I don't cook, so I'm perfectly willing to pay for somebody else to do it, but I don't know if everybody else feels the same. Nobody wants to like cook it.
It's pretty straightforward. So.
I can look in, do you want me to just look into the full meal deal, pulled pork, salad?
Yeah, I would just tell them what we're doing, like say it's back to school lunch, we want something that's cost effective, but that's also gonna be roughly 50 people.
I think we're at 60.
60.
Are we closer to 60?
Well, if you include all of you as board members.
Again,
You're again it, okay?
yeah, we don't need to spend money on some back deal.
Okay.
And I don't think we have the money to spend it there, sure. So
Well, it wouldn't be school money, it's our personal. That's fine.
we are person money. I'm doubling, yeah.
So, Deb is bringing rolls, Macy is bringing meat, I'm gonna pick up 2 salads. You're
I'll stay with corn for
Three.
And silver.
See, but what you say,
I can, you want to do drinks? I'll do plates, silverware now.
Okay, Nick is doing drinks. Okay, and Jocelyn. Oh, I usually do cupcakes. All right,
How about you do the salads, I'll do meat and dessert.
okay. Can you get in and get them though with work?
Yeah, I'll,
We're not in there anymore.
Okay. Okay, okay. All right. You got it. You've got rolls and dessert. I've got 2 salads.
Kite walk out.
People? Yeah, I would plan 60. Because whatever other people we have, if we've got presenters or student teachers, or I don't know what we've got, EOU students or whatever. Okay, perfect. That is the Monday, the 25th, and it starts at noon?
Yep.
Okay, So have your stuff here, contact one of the others of us to get it here. All right, action items. We need to hire an assistant football coach, Joe Platts. Tell us about that, please.
He's been volunteer with the program for a number of years now. And still looking to take the higher roles. Travis and Bill interviewed last week and they're passionate about being involved with the kids and Travis was definitely happy to be applied and this new moves now, so that, and all the experience I've had with Joe's volunteers and great, it's great. Only 8 months and I think it's leading to some kids.
I move we hire Joe Platts as assistant football coach.
Roll call. Deb,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Yes.
Nick, Mark, yes for me.
This year?
Yeah, definitely.
Cooperative scholarship, sponsorships with Cove High School cross country wrestling. Tell us about that.
So normally you can do with 1 4 years, but because it's national cycle, they allow you 1 year co-op agreements at this point. Which makes sense because in December, they're going to come out with the next 4 year plan and they're looking at tweaking how they figure out the numbers and everything. So things could change. So basically we're looking at for a year in those sports. I mean, we do have to do with radar, it doesn't have to be done right now, but they give it 10% allowance. So but I think the upper limit for two these sports was 22 is 1.5. And based off last year's numbers, we're at 1.6, I think. So basically, if over us grow by 3 or 4 kids, yeah, two choices. Either we don't do it quality anymore, we've got to go up to the next classification.
Which would be 3A.
Except for girls customers already in 1983. So they would be interested in that. That's more than percent code rating there. One word to go ahead. It's still be competitive. It doesn't change travel a lot, but it's something we need to look at. And it really can't make a decision until we get the new plan, the plan, because we don't know what the numbers that we do in the plan. We may not have to worry about it. They may change the numbers and we're all good. In between the meetings, there's a lot of, so.
Well, you and Cove's AD.
Yeah, we just talked about today.
Okay,
So,
But for this year, we're good.
but this year we're good, because they're getting off last year's numbers, so they would look. They would look at this year's numbers next year, or the next year. Okay. So, but as these lie right now, if nothing changed, provide beautiful kids and we have to either put in block or.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated. I like to things out. Reaction numbers versus reduction of 100 seniors and greater use and all that. So it's
Okay,
but
well, for this year, motion to go ahead and go with our cooperative sponsorships with Cove.
I move we continue our cooperative sponsorship with Cove, cross-country wrestling, softball, and baseball,
they both.
and golf.
Well, that's,
Oh, the golf is.
Golf is
with
separate,
Em- That golf
because
is separate.
that's the next one.
That's the
Jump of the
next
gun.
Second.
one. Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Macy,
Yes.
Nick, Mark, Jocelyn, yes. And then the second cooperative is a cooperative sponsorship with Embler and Cove for golf. Same game, probably same issues, 1 year. So we just need to.
1A through 4A for girls, 1A through 3A for boys. So-
Oh, it won't make any difference. Oh, that's a positive.
The biggest.
Okay, motion to go with that.
I make a motion to go with the cooperative for the golf.
Roll call, Deb, Macy,
Yes.
Nick, Mark, Jocelyn, yes. All right, athletic code of conduct, spectator code of conduct. we do need to move that these are. And I lump those, maybe I shouldn't lump those together. Athletic code of conduct, action item. We've already gone through it. We've already discussed it. Is there a motion to accept the athletic code of conduct?
I so move.
Second? And yes, for me, and then the same for the spectator code of conduct that we just discussed with the addendum as at the end of it will be authored out. A motion?
Second.
Roll call, Deb,
Yes.
Macy,
Yes.
Nick, Mark, Jocelyn, yes. All right, we need to hear about Carter's superintendent goals.
So it's, keep going, flipping through the packet that I gave you. It's just past the cell phones. One page past the cell phones, you should see administrative goals. And so number one, provide assessments to all students that develop data to drive decision making. So we do a pretty good job at the elementary. The high school data isn't as good. And so what I'm looking at is the PSAT. The PSAT does a PSAT 8, a PSAT 9, a PSAT 10. And then you take the SAT as an 11th grader. And so I'm wondering if the ACT or the PSAT, whichever one's cheaper, and Josh and I have talked about this. That's one of my goals, is to get that assessment, especially at the high school. And that's going to be a barrier for kids to go into college. And so what that'll do is it'll increase academic rigor, accountability, and learning opportunities for all students. And then we'll use that data to identify areas that we can improve student outcomes. And so I think with those assessments, we're going to get, especially with the ACT, you're going to get a more broad range of data back. And so then maybe we're weak in like physical science areas, or maybe it's biology, and I'm picking on the sciences, but or maybe it's sentence structure or punctuation or all those things. We're going to get more data back that way. Then we can, then I can sit down with the English teachers and say, look at this data. Now, what do we need to do? What are we missing? And then we can find some curriculums or things to boost that up for those student outcomes. And so that's the first goal that I have.
Let me ask some questions.
Yeah.
Are PSAT or ACT, are they provide strand data in ELA and math?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is, the ACT also has more like technical type skills and questions. That's why I was leaning more to the ACT, but I'm obviously going to go with what is the least expensive cost to the district.
And
Yeah.
and we will pay for every kid's
That's-
ACT or.
And
Nice.
that's my thought is that 50% of our students are college bound, and so they will have a leg up taking assessments that could qualify them for more scholarships, and that's one of the reasons, rationale behind it. No. Just like it's not required to get a high school diploma, but I think it's coming. Yeah, I think it's coming back. What I would say is I think it's coming back, but not, you don't have to even pass the state assessment
No, I.
to graduate.
I like it. That's great. That's a great option for high school because there just simply aren't good quality assessments out there. So excellent. I think that's the next.
It'll prepare, which will be good.
Yeah.
And it'll give us data, and it'll give us data to evaluate, like, are we coaching kids up the right way? Are we teaching them everything they need to know to write a successful 5-paragraph essay, that kind of stuff. So second, and this is one that, is a goal for me. This is more of a personal a goal, but also a district goal, communication. And, with our families and our community, I was talking with James and Joe about some of their new forums that they're having online, and we did kind of have this talk, we have Thrill Share, but I try to reluctantly use Thrill Share. So I'm not just overbearing with communication, like middle school practice is delayed by 15 minutes to everybody in the district. And so there's a fine line with that. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make that better. Because especially events change throughout the year. I mean, the amount of scheduled changes that we do is a lot. And so I'm trying to find a way. I know Thrill Share, people are happy with Thrill Share. I know Facebook, people are happy with what Rondi does with Facebook. We've gotten lots of compliments on that. I think the tweak is, how do we do this with athletics, and how do we incorporate that? And I think we've talked about it, and I wanted to make it one of my goals this year, so that things like that, we're setting people up for success. So grandma doesn't miss, grandkids game, or the recital, or the music contest or concert. So
One thing that is reaching out to like Eastern or OIT or someone who has a computer science
yeah,
or a computer development college group.
okay,
See if they would be willing to help us create. I know supposedly we have.
yeah, we do. Thrill Share. Yeah,
Well, it'd be nice to create an actual district, that's Union School District, that, and if we work with someone to create it for us,
that's what it is. That's what Thrill Share is.
no one knows about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have it right here. They're on my phone, Thrill Share.
Okay, so obviously communication about what Thrill Share is and how it can be used and all
Yeah,
that.
it's never
At
one.
one point there was a.
That's what I thought. It was an actual
It all said-
district. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
But I mean, that's what this is.
Okay, well, having a true Union School District would be a good idea.
Okay.
That has, like, it's essentially a micro version of the website. But that James could post changes to, and parents could set it to get notifications or not, right? Maybe you have your notifications on and James posts something that says, high school game delayed or canceled or this or that, or Ronnie can get on and post things that she wants, or you
Yeah.
can do, but then it's on someone's phone. And because one of the things I saw in a neighboring district is that there were some families upset that something got posted on Facebook, but not everybody has social media. And so they didn't really know. And so sometimes I don't know. I thought that
Something to look into.
Yeah, and that's a great, and so that's part of my communications goal.
Okay.
I agree.
My comment on your goal, though, better communication. Is not, I'm sorry, I'm that person.
So, okay,
Your first one is measurable, this one is not.
okay.
So
think of a way to. measure it.
think of a way to make it measurable. Get
So
that.
like, yeah, and so what I'm thinking right now in my head, and the note I just took was Thrill Share app QR code, and then maybe I can find a way to see how many people.
And then like you're gonna, post. Throw, share.
Okay.
Or
Okay,
At least get it up and running this year. Maybe that's your goal. Get a district app up and running this year. That's measurable to me.
Okay.
Then I can say, okay, yeah, it's either there or it's not there.
okay, this
Okay.
year, got it.
And sorry.
No, no problem.
Okay.
And so then the third one is because we have, effective, essentially, I'll just read it, effectively convert the newly acquired property adjacent to the athletic complex for residential sale. We didn't know we owned it. Okay. And so I'm looking for ways to use the newly built tiny home to add to the property value, develop a positive working relationship with the city to help streamline this process. I've been in contact with the homeowner there. And so I'm working all of those things out. And so my hope is by the time we get to next summer, I've found a way to either sell the piece of property or permanently put the tiny home on there. There's lots of variables like are you allowed, like financing on a tiny home because it's mobile, you know, those kinds of things. So there's lots of hoops I'm gonna have to jump through. And so my hope is that I can either use the tiny home or we find different option and the planning commission next month. So it's right here on the corner. And
If you go down, turn down on that side, and you'll run right straight into it. It looks like the folks that live there have been taking care of it forever.
yeah,
There's a dead tree falling across the fence.
It's now,
yeah, the tree is now gone. It's been removed. We didn't know it was our tree. So we thought, hey, that's your tree. It fell on our fence. Are you gonna fix our fence? And turns out it's our property. And it's our property on the other side of the ditch, and it's just part of the old mill lot.
Probably somehow.
Yeah, and I don't think so. I think financially, that's probably not an option.
That was my only concern, is to go easy with the people that are living there. They obviously keep the property forever.
And I did talk to her on the phone. We are going to reimburse her for the amount that fell into her driveway so she could drive her car. And so we're gonna do that. And then we have removed the tree. There is no more hazardous trees that are alive or dead and, you know, still standing.
Is there single occupancy in that house?
Yes. Yep. So anyway, I think that, you know, that's the goal there. You can see there's going to be lots of hoops that I have to jump through. And I don't know what the planning commission is going to say because it's an undersized lot. And then I don't know if they have any rules and regulations about tiny homes. And so all those things I'm going to learn throughout the year by going to the planning commission and asking, can I do this? Can I do that? I can't do this, so can I do that? And that's kind of my goal. And it's measurable to see if I can get it on the market by next year. And if we are able to get the tiny home on it and sell it, that's a win-win.
That's your thought.
And I
PLA to.
I will ask.
Idea. Just saying.
I will ask. One of the things, my thought on it is it's a liability to us. You know what I mean? It's a piece of property that we haven't maintained, we didn't know we owned, and I would rather get away from it.
Sure.
Than try to, that's my thought on it. And so that's why I was thinking about putting it up for sale, but I might not be able to sell it. It's hard to say when you look at, it's very little. It's probably maybe 4,000 square feet as far as the property, maybe. But part of that 4,000 square feet is the irrigation ditch. And so that takes, you know, buildable square footage out. I know a minimum, we're going to build it today. I believe the ordinance is 800 square feet. And so we would have to ask. So the first thing I have to do is I have to do basically break the piece off and get it zoned and its own lot residential, because currently it's zoned like parks, something.
What if they have the building?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's probably maybe, I mean, buildable space would be with the easements is probably somewhere like 20 by 60. I think it's more like 60 by 80, 90. The gym floor would be like 60 by 90.
It's by 85, I mean, just something.
Yeah.
To be on that. 84 feet long.
Yeah.
Smaller than a gym floor.
Yeah. I think the buildable space would be too narrow, but it might be long enough. But yeah, I see where you're going.
so effectively convert the newly acquired property to do something with it productive
Yes,
versus having it sit there and not knowing.
and I will update you as the year goes on what the planning commission will allow us to do. And get our options as far as like, there's this option or there's that option, because there are people in town that do have dwellings that are under the 800 square feet and on smaller than a 7,500 square foot lot, but have been able to get a special use permit for a Airbnb, because nobody really wants to live in something like that because it's so small. So they've been able, and there have people that have done that in town. So is it an option? Yes. But I'll find out more.
Well, even if we jump through the hoops of getting it, so it could be, then we could reach out and sell it. When
Yeah,
telling them that, hey, this is all set up and ready to be an Airbnb, district doesn't want to run it. You approved it, this is what we're willing to sell it.
Yep. So that's the goal number 3, is try to figure out what our options are with that piece of property.
Any further discussion on Carter's goals? With the exception of number 2, that is going to get the app up and running
Mhm.
to provide better communication with our school and families and communities.
Union School District app.
It is on there?
Yeah, it's in the app. It went away at one point, and then it shut back up. Because I was just trying to log into the app you were talking about, and like, maybe put my phone number in, and like, it said right on there, like, if you're a parent or guardian, search the app store for your district's app.
Okay,
Okay.
so your work is cut out for you on that one.
So what I'm going to do is my plan will be build a QR code that we can get out with registration, so people can just go right to it and download it.
Yeah,
I want you to sign it, make it work, make it effective, so what all of you guys want,
Okay.
right? To be your communication tool, then roll it out next year.
Okay.
I think, right? I think it's pointless to get out a QR code for something that we're not even happy with.
Right. Don't give them
Yeah.
something that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't give me something that doesn't work. It's not just irritate the genius out.
Yeah, no, and I got it. I got it.
Okay. A motion to accept Carter's goals, administrative goals for this year.
I don't-
Second,
Second.
roll call. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. We look forward to hearing about your progress as the year progresses. Okay, board goals. The next page in your packet is the worksheet. Our vision is building a solid foundation for lifelong learning. The district goals, all Union students will leave elementary school with a solid foundation for success in the upper grades. Union School District will close gaps between student populations and regular attendance district-wide. And Union School District student achievement in math and language arts will increase. Those are the 3 district goals we have. We've just heard what Carter is working on. Since this is kind of our first goal in a while, first job in a while to set goals for ourselves as a board, I gave you some examples of regional goals that boards have. My suggestion would be 3 to start with. You'll see some boards go very deep with their goals. They're very specific, very detailed, and some boards have a 1-sentence goal. Up to us to develop goals. But typically, as you look through, you'll see a goal on academic progress. You'll see a goal on fiscal responsibility, and you'll see a goal on community communication, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the three that are kind of usual. Doesn't mean we have to go with those. It just simply means those are some suggestions as where to go.
One of the ones that I thought that should be was a supportive and safe learning environment. A goal that I thought would be a supportive and safe learning environment. So possible ways to measure that would be things like we could do surveys of the students or the staff. We could do like behavior data. So number, severity, disciplinary instances, suspensions, bullying reports tracked quarterly, attendance rates, chronic absenteeism, which are things we're going to do. Those can indicate whether students feel comfortable coming to school. Facilitate safety audits, annual completion of safety inspections, drills, emergency preparedness updates.
I like that with the, because we can tie the our attendance goal in with that. That makes a ton of sense to me. Any other discussion on that one? I would like to see one that's tied directly to student success. In that, just because it's what we test on. Again, it's one of our district goals is that students will improve in those two areas.
How does the board direct that goal? Through policy?
I don't know that we do direct.
Budgetary. You might say budget one money for reading curriculum, whatever. I don't know.
I think it's that job of oversight where we set direction for what's important in the district. That's my take on board goals. That we are saying as a board, student improvement, student success is important. We're saying student safety that's wanting to come to school.
I think we could do it as something like access to education for all students. And in that access to education for all students, we're measuring how these students are performing in order to ensure that they and so that could be that maybe we need to look at our teacher to student ratios. Our classes, too small, too big, then that's affecting their performance. The technology, do we need to change? If some kids have Chromebooks and some don't, do we need to look at, maybe we need to increase sped or tutoring or intervention services, or I don't know, maybe you can measure it that way.
Basically, we do all of that stuff eventually. We just don't call it going. We address
Right.
problems, for lack of a better word, head on and come to the conclusion
It would be like
that
putting it on paper.
best for the student. We don't, it isn't.
Right. And I think our goals can be things that we're actively doing already, right? They're not goals. We're not trying to drum up problems and create solutions, right? We're just trying to say as a district, what do we do for? Like, we want all kids to have access to education. We want them to be able to read and write when they're done. Like, we want them to have access to education and we want them access to good education. We want them to be educated.
I think I'm kind of leaning towards, yes, we're going to do all that without having a goal on a piece of paper. And and that's not saying that goals aren't good. But we can make goals for minutia in perpetuity and it would really be because we would be actively supporting students and staff with what we do.
Right, so what I guess would be your idea of a goal that you think would represent the district well?
Survive. I'm terrible and I apologize, but I don't know, things. Something simple, I don't like it. Bombs flowery treatises on a piece of paper that like, this is what our goals are. Okay, fine. We're going to meet and discuss problems and take care of things that's going on. And that's what I like goal in that we can monitor student success.
But what, in your ideal perfect world, what do you want every student to come out of the school district with?
A vision in their head that they want to learn. I thought Greg Ford's graduation speech was wonderful. You ain't done nothing yet. Your whole life is in front of it, and if we could get students to not want to be done, but learn and have that fire and whatever it is they're interested in, give them to do it, whether they're building houses or they're going to be a MD. That's what I would envision, my perfect student that leaves here would want to go on and not say, what else? That's years of my life. It was smart.
And that, what you just said aligns exactly with what our vision statement is
Yeah.
building a solid foundation for lifelong learning.
Exactly.
Some of these goals, but then where does it go from there? Still just goals on paper, right?
Right.
I mean, we all have the same vision, we all are working towards the same thing. Just outlining it or.
I guess giving more specific focus to our direction as a board.
Here's, well, AI help. So it says, I basically just typed in Mark said, and it says, board will foster a culture where every student leaves high school with the skills, confidence, and motivation to pursue education, training, or career pathways beyond graduation, understanding that high school is the foundation, not the finish line of their lifelong journey. And it says possible measurement indicators, percentage of graduates that enroll in post-secondary education, vocational training, military service, within 12 months of graduation, percentage of students completing career exploration activities, jobs, training, internships, CTE before graduation, percentage of seniors completing college or trade school applications, or FAFSA.
Oh, FAFSA.
And
The federal.
or FAA. Percentage of students earning dual credit, industry certification, or advanced coursework credit. Student survey results on future goals and perceived readiness for next steps.
You make fun of me.
Yes.
I'm gonna do that.
Why did that make you sound real smart?
Take it on the shoulders.
I did, I know. So-
Where are you at with this? It may just be me, maybe I.
I, you know. I mean, I understand the importance of having goals. I kind of understand where you two are coming from also. It's almost like a formality of sorts than anything.
And we have a bunch of them. Yeah, my goal is to have board meetings with them, do opera.
It just seems like a formality for what we already do.
Well, we have district goals. You now have superintendent goals. I could live another year. I've got to do a better job of sales pitching my recent.
You're gonna have to take Mark out to the line.
I get.
I took a picture of our district goal and update, wrote an asked board with it reflected. Here's another one. Sure, all Union School District students complete elementary school with the academic and social emotional foundation needed for success in middle school and high school. This measurement focused student achievement data in K-5, reading, math, and international assessment, student staff ratios, intervention programs, year-to-year improvement in elementary attendance. That would be very important. According to goal 2, closing gaps in attendance and engagement. The goal would be to reduce disparities in regular attendance and engagement across all student groups and targeting supports for students building those experiences in poverty and other underserved populations. Goes through chronic absenteeism rates, looking at those. And then college career and lifelong learning readiness. Talks about increasing the percentage of students graduating with knowledge, skills, and competence to succeed in post-secondary education, vocational training, career paths, recognizing high school up to the start of life. So I think it's really just putting onto paper what we already do.
That's
What,
And
That's,
the last one came up with it, like I said, you're working towards it, but it gives you something tangible to look at and engage. Okay, are we successful in that? You know, oh, wait, these numbers dropped from last year, this year, or over the past 5 years. It just gives you something to be able to go, instead of like feeling like, yeah, we're doing good, then all the numbers like, oh, it's not good, but it's better than we thought. I think that's.
well, something to be able to show the community, like, hey, these are our goals, this is what we're looking at for your students in the community, like, or watch our videos. Not.
I do agree with our district goals. I think they're well written. They have detail to them. We're looking at closing gaps. We're looking at attendance. If we don't get kids to school, they don't have a chance to learn. And we've also said achievement in math and language arts will increase. I mean, we're already saying that district goal wise, maybe those are adopted as our board goals as well. Our district goals are our board goals.
They fine with me.
Our board goals. Macy, Nick, Mark. All right. Our district goals are our board goals. We are checking on our district goals quarterly with our evaluation. So we can say district and board goals. And Jocelyn will be happy that she's got goals. Guys, make me crazy. All right. We are going to take action on that. Can we have a nomination that says our board goals are our district? I'm going to say yes. Mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Future agenda items. Is there anything out there that we need to have on the radar? Okay, well, I guess we'll see what September brings. We'll have school started. We'll be back to work. Okay, and everybody has their assignments for lunch on the 25th.
You like drinking twice? I'm sure I'm having something that people actually drink.
Okay.
You can't bring.
Water is a good
It's
choice.
kind of like Chris's idea, is bring a tub of.
Oh, wow. All right,
These people, you guys got anything on that for me?
comments? We are up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, public comments, 3 minutes, absolutely. Okay.
I just have a little. I think I just made enough copies for the board. So just the first, sheet, it's a partial, page of a letter, an email that my daughter received who's playing college basketball. And I just, I'll explain it a little
Okay.
bit in just a minute, but, I think it's, here. So I'm just gonna start by saying that, at prior school board meetings that I have attended this year, the first thing I noticed was, Jocelyn Jones would put extra time, to review and contemplate the issues that would be discussed for the evening. She put some forethought into giving reminders and recommendations about how to proceed, before delving into the issues at hand. One of the statements that really stood out to me was, let us remember that we are in the business of educating students. I thought that that was great advice, considering the subject at hand for me pertains to parental complaints and not student complaints. It appears, however, that this administration and board have strayed so far from this business, it has become laughable and actually ridiculed by other administrators, coaches, and legal counsel throughout not only this community, but throughout the state. In my first statement to James Freitag, when our issue developed, I said, we have a parent problem that is harming our students. And I stand by that 100%. So we've been so confused about why this issue of playing basketball with our girls became such a giant issue, but it's starting to make a little more sense. So in light of some new information, we have come to know where some of the horrible treatment to our students has come, by their teammates has come from. And it might shock you too, as it's one of your own employees or friends. And they played a very key role in this whole situation with their accusations and recommendations for punishment, with the end goal was just to destroy any opportunities and any further success for particular student athletes at UHS. To me, that is the formula. So on the second page, so the first page just talks about, you know, as I said at the beginning, college coaches and even the investigator, Scott Whittington, said you are never going to move past the college level unless you go above and beyond your practice. You have to put in extra time. You have to put in extra practice. And so every coach that we have talked to said that has to be done. And yet we're being told that we couldn't do it. Even Scott Whittington, who's been a coach, said, you're never going to make it past high school if you don't put in extra time after practice. So everyone else seems to understand this except the body here. So the next is a email that was filed by the person that filed a formal complaint against us. It was a text message or email, but to take any of the Patton Miller complaints seriously, and I know this is being investigated right now, but to take their complaint seriously, it just should have been thrown out immediately if you look at what they were really trying to accomplish. It wasn't to teach these students anything, in part because there was no lesson needing to be taught. All the coaches say you have to go above and beyond practice. And so the point was to punish these students. And it literally says, because I don't like the parents' bad behavior, I want these students to suffer. I want them to suffer the consequences. What kind of parent says this? To me, it's an unstable or irrational parent. But was that the actual complainant
that is unstable and irrational, or the person behind the scenes. He states later that he's following the lead of Odin Miller. And Odin Miller is an employee here, and his whole goal was to get these girls kicked off the team and absolutely destroy them. So he tells us that he's following Odin Miller's lead. We have never personally even met or spoke to Mr. Patton in our lives. So how did he become an expert on us? He just said, well, I'm under the impression that they have a laundry list of bad behavior. Never spoke to him before. So yeah, they've got that somewhere. We knew if we had known that these families and individuals were out to sabotage our girls, we would have filed formal complaints for drunkenness at prom. How about against these parents for bad-mouthing our kids in the stands? How about for other players who have been bullying these 3 students on social media? We have to file a complaint for everything. That's what we're learning that we have to do. So did these parents or their students come to cheer for these students in any of the next season? Not once. But let me tell you, the Blackers and myself, we continue to cheer for these students throughout all of their activities. In fact, these parents didn't even want they didn't want to teach their children anything about conflict resolution. They just wanted our kids kicked off the team so their kids wouldn't have to see what they called these 3 cheaters. Cheating by practicing extra, I don't understand that. We teach our kids from a biblical principle that the first step is if you have a problem with someone, you go directly to that person. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, the problem is that I didn't go directly to the Pattons or the Millers. So in the future, maybe that's what I'll do. Instead, I expected your protocols to work out and your investigation into this problem to reveal the truth. None of this has worked out, and your investigation into the so you have to have the protocols, the administration, and the board do not want to know the truth or do the right thing. You'd rather back up your friends or people that have weight or pull in this community. Let's see, part of an example of that is that we're allowing one of the complaints against us to be kept confidential. OSAA does not allow for anonymous complaints, and legally we're entitled to face our accuser. So who at UHS gets to decide which friend they want to protect and allow the complaint to be confidential because it would upset the community? Like it or not, Jay and I and our families were part of this community. And the upset and suffering that our students and families have gone through is far greater than any that you could ever imagine. Please me to one more point. We were told in a certified letter from Carter Wells and then again from Jocelyn Jones that Scott Whittington had been hired to investigate our complaints against the handling of this situation, first by James and then by Carter. However, when we were contacted by Scott, he stated he was only investigating James. When we met with him, he did not have our letters or complaints against Carter and had none of the Blackman's complaints against James or Carter. That seems suspicious. How are we supposed to trust that what is said to be done, that is said to be being done, is actually being done after following so many trails of lies? How was he able to investigate our complaints against Carter without actually having read them? Once again, Carter may be your friend or your colleague, but it doesn't mean that he knows how to do a proper investigation. So in the future, I would like you to question yourselves and really focus on looking at the matters before you without your personal relationships and biases contributing. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay?
Before we are to address the pattern of behavior in this administration that directly harming our family, and in my view, presents a failure of leadership. Over the past months, we have endured targeted actions, blatant abuse, and a policy for the advantage of the administration and the district. Highest investigations from decisions that have been rushed, incomplete, handled with incompetence and disregard for fairness, and infringing upon parental rights. Instead, in order to resolve concerns in a balanced and transparent manner, the administration has escalated conflicts, spread mistrust, and placed unnecessary strain on families like mine. What's equally troubling is that the board has stood by and allowed such conduct to continue by failing to hold administrators accountable. You have sent the message that targeting families in mishandling situations is acceptable. practice in Union School District. That is not leadership, that is complicity. The school system that should be built on trust, respect, accountability. Right now, we have none of those. Moving forward, the following changes must be done by the school district. Respect for students and families, respecting their rights. If you got months ago, my family was attacked by administration of the school board for something that our lawyer and private investigator hired by the school policy. We have made complaints and the board has ruled that no policy was violated, even though there were clear policy violations. We have a huge problem in the school district. Clear policy on family communication and involvement. My wife was verbally assaulted by a school employee and an admin and by an admin and also by the school board themselves. An employee was, evidence shows that a school employee played an active role in initiating coordinated efforts against my family, operating behind the scenes rather than through open and fair communication. Families must be treated as partners in education, not adversaries. Accountability for administrative misconduct. When leadership fails in fairness, professionalism, and truthfulness, there must be consequences. To this day, the district has not fully complied with the FOIA Freedom of Information Act requested that I filed. The district picked and chose what they wanted to release. Our admin and school are not above the law and cannot manipulate the policy for their benefit. Our children deserve better. Our families deserve respect. And our district deserves leadership that serves all of us, not just those favored by administration. I urge you to take these concerns seriously, make the necessary changes, and restore integrity to our district.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. Is there anything else? We're adjourned. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 8:30. Okay.
It's memorable.